Hey guys, today we're going to learn about the next type of poem in our poetry unit, and these types of poems are called a haiku. So first, I'm going to go through and tell you about what a haiku is. There are certain requirements for how to write a haiku, so we're going to learn all about that. And then I'll show you some examples. After we go through some examples, I'll show you how to brainstorm ideas for a topic for you to pick your own. And then I'll show you how I would go through the process of writing a haiku. You're going to help me finish writing a haiku, and then it'll be time for you to try it on your own and submit your own haiku. I hope you guys have fun with this. So let's get started. A haiku is a style of Japanese poetry that is typically about nature. Haikus are 3 lines long. The first and third lines have 5 syllables, and the second line has 7 syllables. So thinking about all of that information we just got. This type of poem tells you what you need to write about. You need to write about something that has to do with nature. So that's why we're going to brainstorm together and think of a lot of good topic ideas. So if you're having a hard time picking one of your own, you'll be able to look at that list and then pick one of those. So it has to be about nature. It also has to be 3 lines long. So remember that a line is like a sentence in a poem, and they have to be on 3 separate lines. So when you're writing, you're going to want to write your first line, check that it has the correct number of syllables, and then you'll either just go to the next line if you're writing on a piece of paper and taking a picture to upload it, or you'll just click enter and then start typing on the next line so that when you're done, you should be able to count 1, 2, 3, 3 lines. We don't want to write all of it on the same line because the rule of this poem is that it should have 3 separate lines. So nature, 3 lines. Now, what's really cool about haikus are that there are certain rules about how many syllables each line has to have. So the first and the third lines both have to have 5 syllables. And then the second line, so the line in the middle, is going to be the longest. It has to have 7 syllables. So remember that syllables are the sounds in a word, and we can check how many syllables are in a word by clapping it out. So let's take the word Japanese right here, right? Figure out how many syllables are in the word Japanese. We could clap it out. 1 clap for each part of the word. So Japanese. There would be 3 syllables in the word Japanese. Let's try haiku. Haiku. There's 2 syllables in the word haiku. So when you're going to write your poem, you have to kind of play around and clap some words out to see if they're going to be able to fit. So it's not a rule about how many words are in each line, but how many syllables are in each line. So it's kind of like a trial and error thing. You're going to have to clap through it and see till you get that it fits. Both of these haikus because those are the syllable rules, right? So let's clap it out together and see how these work. So flowers, that's 2, right? Flowers growing high. 5 syllables for line 1. Blooming up toward the sky. 7 for the middle line. Paint vibrant colors. 5. So 5, 7, 5, that's perfect. Okay, let's look at the second example. Haiku number 2. Flowers in the ground, withered, gnarled, turning brown, fading back to dust. So this one doesn't rhyme. In the middle, you can make, like the first example had some phrases, all phrases. This one had just words in the middle line. And again, that's fine. So let's clap it out or use our fingers one more time. Check sure that it makes 5, 7, 5 with the syllable rule. So let's see. Flowers in the ground, 5. Withered, gnarled, turning brown, 7. Fading back to dust, 5. Good, so this one works also. So these are 2 examples. Now we're going to read through some more examples before we get to brainstorming, which means like how do we think of a topic for ourselves? So let's see. Here's another example. This one's about butterflies. Butterflies are cool in the big, huge green forest. They fly up so high. So you could add punctuation, right? This one has some commas and an exclamation point. So it's kind of like each line goes together to make one big thought. And the first and second line definitely go together, right? Butterflies are cool in the big, huge green forest. They fly up so high. Let's go to the next one. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4 different examples. Let's look at the one in green. A fat bee stings me. It hurts very badly, but I do not cry though. Let's check it for the syllables, right? So this one is about a bee, which again is something in nature. A fat bee stings me. 5. Really want to get that 575, 575 stuck in your head, right? Notice these are all 3 lines. It hurts very badly, but I do not cry though. So 575. Ladybugs are red and have black spots on their wings. Experts at flying. So that poem was about ladybugs, something else you could find in nature, right? The next one's about a bee again, so looking at the one in purple. The bee flies quickly. It turns around and stings me, then falls to the ground. And looking at the one up in the right, in red, moths go flying by. They are very beautiful, fluttering around. So now hopefully you read a bunch of examples. You're getting some ideas about what you want to write about and how a haiku should go, right? Really, really thinking about nature, 3 lines in length, and following those syllable rules. The first line is 5, the second line is 7, and the third line is 5 again. So now we're going to brainstorm some topics. What I did for this was I just took a pencil and paper and I jotted down as quickly as I could think of any just like one word topics that related to nature. So like look at, this is my scribble scrabble of all my nature topics. I'm going to start with a couple. I'll give you a couple that I came up with, and then I want you to pause this video and try to think of as many more as you can. And then I'll add up a whole big list on here of the ones that I thought of. Maybe we'll have some of the same ones. And then this should give you an idea of one that you could pick to use your topic. So let's see. Some that I thought of, well, we had flowers, dog, cat, pond. We go to the pond at school, right? We could come up with a whole big list. So I'm going to start with those for now. And now I want you to pause the video, right? And take about 30 seconds and either list them across your fingers, jot them down if you have some paper next to you, and try to add on and think of many more topics all about nature, as many as you can. Okay, hopefully you were able to brainstorm and think about a lot of topics. I added all these other topics to our brainstorm dump. And when you go to write your own topic, if you really can't think of your own that has to do with nature, just come back to this slide and pick one of these topics. So now it's time for me to show you how to write a haiku. So you're going to watch me write. We're going to use the type tool for our first line. That needs to have 5 syllables. Actually, so for the very first line, I want to write my topic, right? And it's just going to be one word. My poem is going to be all about the beach. So the beach is something in nature, right? So I want to start my title with a capital. I'll write beach. And now I'm ready for the next line. So I want to do the type tool again to make a new line. And let's move it down here a little bit. All right. So you might have to play around with it and like really test some things out to see if it works with the syllables, right? So I want to think about all the things. You know, the beach, I like to lay in a beach chair. There's sand, there's the waves, I like to go swimming in the ocean. So trying to think of all these things and put it in there. I like to get to the beach really early sometimes to see the sunrise. So I could say like the rising sun. That's 4 syllables. The rising sun is beautiful. That's 8. That's way too many. Remember, the first line needs 5. So maybe I'll say the rising sun. I'm thinking, what does the sun do? That could just be like one more syllable. The rising sun glows. That works. So let's type the rising sun glows. So now I can use this to stretch it out. And that's my first line. And check it again. One more time, make sure it works. The rising sun glows. 5 syllables, I'm good. Now I'm ready for the next line. See how I check it so many times? You should do that as well. Let's see where my writing went. Okay, so I might have to write this one and then move it down. My next line, say something about my feet in the sand. Let's cool breeze, we could say. So let's see, sand beneath my toes. And then you could think about nature like using your senses, right? So that's 5 syllables. I need 2 more. The sand beneath my toes feels good. The sand beneath my toes feels good. That's just one extra. I could get rid of the word the. So let's do sand beneath my toes feels good. Cool, that works. I could type it. Sand beneath my toes feels good. And now I'm going to stretch this out and add it underneath my first one, because that's my second line. The rising sun glows, sand beneath my toes feels good. So it's kind of like mine don't really run together yet, or in this one, like some of the other ones did, but that's okay, right? Everything I'm writing at least has to do with the beach, and it's following our haiku rules. So now we need one more line. It needs to have 5 syllables. Maybe let's talk about the waves. Another thing in poetry, you can kind of give some like qualities to inanimate things that don't like move like people do. That's called personification. So making things like people. So I could say like the waves are singing. So let's see how I can fit that into syllables. The waves are singing. I could do that one, but let's make it more interesting. Crashing waves sing out. Crashing waves sing out. Right when the waves hit, that's like crashing waves. So let's do that. That sounds more exciting. Crashing waves sing out. And I can stretch it out. And now I have done my 5, 7, 5. I have 3 lines, and it's about the beach, which is a part of nature. So let's read it all together. Beach. The rising sun glows. Sand beneath my toes feels good. Crashing waves sing out. This is a good haiku. So remember, you might add some punctuation in there if it fits, like some of the other examples, or you might not. This one, I don't have it, but it still follows the rules because we have those 3 lines, the right number of syllables, and a topic about nature. Okay, now for this haiku, I want you to help me write it. So I have started the poem for us, and then I want you to pause the video and just clap it out or use your fingers and try to figure out what would be a good last line for this haiku. So this one is about the pond. I picked this one because I thought you could relate to it, right? We go to the pond together at school and should have a lot of background knowledge that you could add to this. So pond is our topic. It's about nature. We're good to go there. I have written 2 of the 3 lines. So you're going to finish the 3rd line. I'll read my 2 lines. We'll check the syllables, and then you're going to add the 3rd line. So you're looking for a word to finish this poem that has 5 syllables. So pond, trees, leaves, water, sun. Nature walk, observations. So we go on nature walks at the pond, right? And those are some things you might see. So that's how I came up with the ideas for this one. Notice that it was appropriate for me to have some commas in the first line this time. So let's see. Trees, leaves, water, sun. 5 syllables. We're good there with the first line. Nature walk, observations. 7 syllables. We're good with the middle line. So now you're going to pause this video and you're going to add on the 3rd line. And now it's your turn. So you can get out of this lesson. Don't forget, definitely come back here and listen to certain parts again, or look at some of the examples if you need help. Go back to the brainstorm slide if you're not sure of what topic you want to use yet. But now it's your turn. So you're going to pick a new topic. You could use beach or pond if you really want, but then your lines should be very different from the ones that I came up with. And remember, you're working really hard to check your syllables, making sure that you have 3 separate lines. You're writing about nature, and you have 5 syllables in the first line, 7 syllables in the second line, and 5 syllables in the 3rd line. So you're going to get out of the lesson, go into the template, and then write your own haiku. And I can't wait to read them. Talk to you guys later.